Hi, I'm going to show you how to make custom t-shirts using the Cameo Silhouette. The way I do it is I make my design in Canva first because it's free, and then I save it and then open up my design over in the Cameo Silhouette studio and then cut my vinyl from there. And I do it that way instead of making the design in Silhouette Studio because I don't really like using canned designs. I like making my own. That's just what I prefer. And I also don't like buying designs from the Silhouette store when I can just make them for free because Canva is free. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So you go over to canva.com. Just as a side note, this Canva is my secret weapon when it comes to any kind of graphic design. I do Photoshop also, and Lightroom, and all those as well. I also use PicMonkey a lot, but when I want something um, fast and easy, I use Canva and PicMonkey. Those are like my two pretty much go to, unless I have something more complex, and then I'll use Photoshop. But so you can get a free canva.com account. Just go in Canva and sign up. Like I said, it's free. There is a paid option, but you can do everything that I am describing here today on the free plan. So as you'll see, they have all these templates, but we're not going to do any of those. You can use, first of all, just custom dimensions, and it'll automatically pop up in pixels, but just set it to inches. And I want my design, I just Googled like best size for t-shirt design, and for women it was like 9 inches deep by 8 inches across, so that feels right. So I'm going to use 8 inches by 9 inches, and then it opens up a new just a plain page. um, It's got all these templates over here that you can, these are really great if you're going to create little cards or flyers or really just anything. But for this purpose, I kind of had in mind what I wanted my design to look like. And the shirts that I'm making are, we have some girls getting together this weekend, and we all wanted to come up with a shirt that like described us. So like the funny one, the witty one, the creative one, or whatever. So that's what we're designing today. So I'm just gonna add text, and I just click text, and then it brings up all these different, like I said, just templates. But I'm just gonna add, and you can add any of these because we're gonna change the font once we're over here. I like Playfair display, so I'm going to leave that font, and you just kind of toggle the sizes here to give you more of a text, like more size on the text block, or here if you want to make it bigger, which I do. So I'm going to say V, and then I'm just going to copy that, and this one, we'll format it here in a minute to make it all pretty, but this one, we've all decided that I'm the witty one. I'm going to show you if I use a bigger, longer word, it kind of drops onto another line, and that's where you use this, the horizontal one, to give you more room so that it doesn't break into two lines. And then this one is the one that makes the size of your font bigger, but you can also change that up here as well. I'm the witty one, and I'm going to copy this again, and so now I'm going to change the font of this one because I love mixing fonts. It makes it more interesting and like just You don't want to put a bunch of different fonts, but pairing two different ones is really, it gives it more visual interest and everything like that. So I uploaded this font. I do believe that that is a requirement. Like you have to have a paid account if you want to upload your own fonts. But I will tell you, like, look at all these fonts that are here on the free. There's so many. This is a free download, but again, I had to pay. I'm on a paid Canva account, so I bought the Amarillo, or I downloaded the Amarillo font free. I just Googled it and downloaded it free, but I can only upload it in Canva because I have a paid account. Anyway, there's that. So I like the way this looks, but I want this to be quite a bit bigger. And so I just play around with the different like sizes until it's kind of the way I want it. And I think that looks really cute. And now I want to add some like flourishes. Oh, first of all, I'm going to change the whole size of this. So I just like clicked over here and I'm holding down so I can grab all of that because I like the ratio, the size ratio of all these, but I want this to take up the entire size of this 8x9 block. Okay, and so in order to do that as a group, you select them all like that and then stretch. Okay, so I want to add some flourishes, and so I'm just going over here and it's not finding anything because I'm still on text. So let's go to elements and I'll type in flourish, and it gives me all kinds of options, and you can see that I can use this one, but it's going to cost me $1. That's a great thing about Canva. It gives a ton of free options too, but any of the paid options are super cheap. They're $1 a piece, so super cheap. But for what we're doing, I'm going to just do some free shapes. Let's see here. Sorry, I found one yesterday that I really liked. Simple. Oh, and this one's actually, naturally, it is $1. These girls cost me a fortune. I kind of like the way that looks, but I think I'll make it smaller. And then I can copy that and move it over to here and make that one smaller, like that. You can also, I've got it selected right now, you can flip it horizontally, flip it vertically. That one's cute, like that. And then just move it around until it looks the way you want it. Okay, and now I am going to download this so that I can then open it over in the Silhouette Studio. So you click this button for downloading and you can get all different formats. It tells you what option or what format they suggest. The PNG is great because then it's going to give me a transparent background. Not that that really matters because, and I'll show you why once we're over in Silhouette Studio. But so I'm going to download it that way as it's suggesting. You can click here to give you a transparent background, but like I said, you don't have to for what the purposes that we're using this for. And it's going to charge me $1 for my flourish that I used here. And I'll have 24 hours to print as much or download as much stuff with that flourish in it. I can use it in other designs within this file for that $1. All right, so download that. And it has saved over, it's saved just on my computer. Okay, once you've downloaded your design over in Canva, you've saved it on your computer. Now we're going to open it up in the Silhouette Studio. And so what you do is you just open the file wherever you saved it. Um, Here's mine. And you can see this is the ruler. You can see the measurements over here. This is like a representation of my mat, and then I've set my page set up as an 8.5 by 11, just because I mean the vinyl I'm cutting is 12 by 12, but I know that my design is going to be around like 9 inches wide by about 8 inches deep is kind of ideal. This one will be smaller. It's going to be less deep. It's going to probably be about 5 or 6 inches. It's more horizontal. So I don't need to set a page at 12 by 12. I'm just setting it just for my visual. It's just easier for me if I'm looking at an 8.5 by 11 page. So now you can kind of see that this is only a couple of inches in size. If you select it, it'll give you the exact measurements. And so you just grab one of these anchors and pull it. If you don't want to grab here because then it's going to stretch it widthwise. You don't want to do that. So it stays proportionate. Just grab one of these corner anchors and kind of keep an eye on your measurements here as to how wide it is and how deep it is. Now, it's measuring the whole depth of the page, of that whole image, the witty one that I had downloaded. Remember, that was saved as more vertical. So all we're wanting to take into consideration for measurement is from the top of this design to the bottom of this design. So it's not really 11 inches deep. It's more, if you look at these guides here, it's like from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This about 6 inches deep. I'm more worried with how wide it is because I want it to be about 9 inches wide. So I'm going to I'm going to measure I'm going to use this one as the one. So that we want that to be right around 9. Move that up. And now it's measuring from this point to this point. And this whole piece of paper, this whole rectangle is not going to be on my shirt. Only this to this is. So I'm going to just bump this over to the edge just to help me get a more accurate measurement of how wide it is. Again, these are inch blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This ends about 8 inches across, and I want it to be bigger because I want it to be closer to 9 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's so it's about 8.5, but I feel good about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. Yeah. Okay, so now you can see that's coming off my paper a little bit. So I'm just going to move that back up here. And now we're ready to send it to cut. So now we'll send it over to, actually, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. We need to identify the parts that we're going to cut because my plan is to cut this and this in white, and then to cut the witty, or each individual adjective that I'm doing for each girl is going to be cut out of a glitter vinyl. So I'm only going to be printing V and 1 and the flourishes. I'm only going to be cutting those out right now. So, but we're going to trace the whole image. So you click on trace, and it's going to have you select the area that you want traced. So I'm just going to select that. And I want to select the outline, and then I'm going to click trace. If you trace outer edge, it's only going to get all the outer edges. It's not going to get like the little circle parts in the Y and then in the E, etc. So you want to click trace. And now you can click on your black image and it separates. So click on that and we're deleting it. We don't even need it anymore. This red line, all this red outline is what the silhouette is going to cut. So now we're ready to, I'm going to save this. I'm going to just go up to the top and do a file, save as to my library, and I'm going to save it as in my library as the witty one, which I've actually already done here. And you can see I've saved some of these others as well. And then you'll say okay and save that into your library. I'm going to do that with all of the designs so that they're ready, and then I can kind of just batch cut them at once. So we'll get to that part in just a minute. Okay, I've got all my files saved in separate files, and now I'm ready to cut them, but I am gonna change this just to make it more efficient. I am gonna change the page size, my page setup to a 12 by 12. Now that I've got it designed the way I want, and I, don't need to visualize anymore how it's going to fit, the size. I'm not going to resize that now because I've already got it sized correctly. But my vinyl is 12 by 12, so I'm setting this up like this because I want to cut out a couple of these designs together. And the reason I can't just cut out a whole sheet of just V and swoosh and then one and swoosh is because, as you can see, each design, they're positioned a little differently. And so I have to do each one kind of individually. So anyway, so I'm going to try to get one that's real horizontal like this. Copy, edit, or edit, copy, and then edit, paste over here. And so now I can print these two on one page. And then, so now I'm going to click send out individually. It is going to end up wasting the way it's going to cut. It's going to waste some vinyl, but this is the best way for me to do it, basically. So I got to turn my Cameo on so that I get a different tray over here where I'm going to be able to send it. And now I don't want all of this to cut. Right now it's going to send it all to cut, but I don't want it to cut mysterious or naughty because I'm cutting those out of the glitter vinyl. So you just select. First, before I can do that, I have to, because right now this is all one piece, so you can see the whole thing moves, and it won't let me deselect just a part of this. So I'm going to click and drag that. Actually, I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm going to click and drag this whole page, and then you go to Object, Release Compound Path, and now it breaks it all up into individual pieces so I can move each thing individually, which I don't want to move. I just want to select the word mysterious. So you can just click. I'm going to kind of click over here and click there, and I'm going to say no cut. I don't want it to cut the word mysterious. These darker areas, I'm going to select those individually. Those little darker areas are still going to cut. So anything that's dark red is going to cut. So I don't want any of that to cut. So right now it's only going to cut V and a swoosh, this swoosh and one, and all of this down here. But I'm going to take away the word naughty and say, nope, don't cut that. Don't cut that, and don't cut that. Okay, and so now when I send it, it's going to have a 12 by 12 piece of vinyl, and it's only going to cut these dark red. Okay, I've decided I don't want to waste a ton of vinyl. I was going to try to cut it out just like this so that I wouldn't have to work as hard to get the positioning right when I go to the iron-on part, but I don't want to use up all my vinyl because the way it's going to cut right now is it's going to have this big section that hasn't been cut and this big section that hasn't been cut, and I can't really do anything after that with a bunch of used up vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this because right now it's as if this mysterious and naughty aren't even there. Um, so I'm just going to move, I'm not going to delete the word mysterious because I need it later and I need it to be sized exactly the way it is. So I'm just going to move that, and I'm going to move that and try to just position it to where it looks right. Feeling good about that. And then same thing here. And with this, oops. So you can just hit the back and that, or like the undo. I'm gonna try to grab all this. Oh, for Pete's sake. Hold on. All right. I just want that and this flourish. So I'm going to pull those like over to here. Put the little center of the E back. And now it's only going to use like half of my sheet of 12 by 12 vinyl, which is exactly what I want. And now I'm going to load my vinyl and then test. I always do a test to make sure the blade is set just right. And then after that, I'll send it to the queue and we'll be good to go. Okay, so you're gonna load up the vinyl and press load. And then I adjust it just slightly. It just makes me feel a little better to have a little bit more up here. I feel like I'm cutting it too close to the edge otherwise. And then this will take you back to the home screen. Now I've got those cut. I am going to just hit the back button a couple times until it puts everything back in its original place. So that's where it was. And now when I'm ready to cut mysterious and naughty, it'll position them where they're supposed to be. Actually, I'm going to end up moving those to do the same thing with my glitter vinyl. So it's not even going to matter, but I don't know. I just feel better doing it this way. All right, next we're ready to start working on the parts that are going to be cut out of the glitter vinyl. So I've put Woody here. Now I'm going to put the mysterious one. We're going to just take all these areas that we're not going to cut. I'm going to try to fit 2 words per sheet of vinyl, but it'd be nice if I have a little extra strip down at the bottom, just in case for mistakes. And we're going to send it and select it all, tell it to cut. So one of the things that I don't like about the rolls of vinyl is that they curl up a lot. So this is a lot better today because I set it up underneath some flat stuff over there for the night to flatten out. But what happens is it'll move around, it'll slide around because it won't stay stuck to your cutting mat. So you want to make sure you have a really tight, like a new cutting mat, and also take your vinyl off the roll a day before you're going to do it so that it flattens out some. So even with this brand new mat, the edges still want to kind of turn up a little bit. So I'm just going to press those down as tight as I can. And there's a couple bubbles in there too. I'm going to pull those out so that press those out. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, once you get that situated, you're ready to send. So send it as, actually, we're gonna adjust this pressure up a little bit because this glitter vinyl is a little thicker. Then send it as mirrored and you're ready to go, and repeat the process for all your other sheets of glitter vinyl. All your different. After the silhouette has done its part, you're ready to cut around each design. And then because I had so many of different sizes, I identified them with a Sharpie. And now it's time to weed out the vinyl. So what you're gonna do is you're pulling off everything except the word, because the word is what we're gonna be ironing on. So we want all this excess vinyl to come off. So pull carefully so that your vinyl, so your letters don't tear.
Yeah, it just, no.
To iron these godforsaken t-shirt designs on. First, I wanted to let you know that I've used two different kinds of heat transfer vinyl. Like I mentioned earlier, for the white, I've got this sizer, and it's the Easy Weed Stretch, which is my favorite for doing t-shirts. It feels really good, it doesn't crack, and it's my very favorite. And then for the glitter, I use the kind that you can buy at Hobby Lobby. It's just the Paper Studio brand. And so they have different instructions for ironing them on. So like for the stretch transfer, you just have to put it on for a few seconds. And for this one, you hold it on longer. And so I'm gonna do them separately. They both call for the cotton and linen setting. So while that's heating up, I was just going to position my design on the shirt, and I think I'm gonna do I'm just gonna position it the way I want it to look first, and then I'll figure out which one I'm gonna iron on first. So you want to make sure that you get the design pretty much exactly, just exactly the way you're going to want it to look. It's okay if you overlap the adhesive. You just want to kind of try to look through that is adhesive and see what your design itself is going to look like. And that's mine. So I think that's going to be just about right. So we get it positioned the way you want it, like I said, and then lay the shirt out flat. And then I think I'm gonna do Witty. I'm gonna iron Witty on first. And so for that one, I'm supposed to have the, you preheat the area that the cut image will be adhered to. So I'm gonna take this off and hope that I get it put back in the right spot. I'll just put my finger there so I can kind of identify. So I'm gonna preheat that spot. Try to center it exactly in the center. Okay. All right, for this brand, you put a cloth there, and then you apply medium pressure for 25 to 30 seconds. So we're gonna do that. You want to make sure you're really getting the edges. That's the most important part, because that's where it'll peel up. I'm just going to do this one more time just to make sure I got it. Once it cools, you can peel the carrier plastic off. This didn't even a little bit stick, so I'm going to try again. Me. I'm going to position these kind of, I can't remember how I had it positioned. Yeah. I'm going to follow the instructions for this kind now. And this one says to cover the design with parchment paper or craft paper. And I have these all natural sandwich bags I use. And you're only going to press firmly for 10 seconds on this one. Okay, so I'm going to actually break this up and do and just iron the word "the." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to do that on this little flourish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then once that cools, then you can, it actually didn't stick very well. So I'm just gonna try again. if there are any places that are pulling up, you're gonna get them this time whenever you cover it again, and 10 more seconds. Okay, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna try not to let the iron touch any of my glitter just because I don't wanna mess that up. Hopefully you're lucky and you have a heat press. That's on my wish list. Okay, we're not gonna freak out. We're not gonna freak out because that can just be touched up. Don't pull up as fast as I just did, because if it didn't stick, then you don't want it to tear. Mine did not tear, thank goodness. But if it had torn, all I would have to do is get my little, the little tool that I use to, does not want to stick. If it had torn, then I would just use my little tool that I use to weave my vinyl. I would heat that up and then scrape it off. I had to do that once before and it was no big deal. And then you just cut yourself another letter and then follow the same process to get it put back on. Just make sure it's all stuck down really well. And voila. And then you have to wait 24 hours before you can wash it, but I think it looks really good.